Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you Part 8 of What If Naruto Was the God of Space, Time and Will. Remember to give this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and stay tuned for there's what if's coming your way over Anime King and Anime King 3. If you're new, yes, that's right guys, I do have 3 channels. Anime King and Making 2 and Making 3, which I post what every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family, and thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be planning talking about to all of you. So yeah, without much further ado, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Start the intro guys. So the last spot we left off, Naruto dropped down and destroyed the barrier. Upon destroying the barrier, he came face to face with the snake Sani. The two of them charged. Orochimaru realized right then and there that he was dead. There was no way of him escaping, and plus, Naruto was leagues above him. As Naruto tore out his soul, he turned to Hiruzen and told him that the battle was not done yet. As Naruto turned his sights towards Killer Bee, both men started to engage each other, forcing everyone to back off with the power that they were releasing. It became so bad that Killer Bee started to tap into the Hatsubi's power, until he fully released the Hatsubi when Naruto almost killed him. The Hatsubi asked who Naruto was, as Naruto told him he knew who he was. As the Hatsubi realized, Naruto was the leader of the 9, the reincarnation of the Shinjo, the god. The Hatsubi wanted to test that there was together a Beichu bomb with all of his might. Naruto created an attack that literally banged time itself with the amount of power that he was pumping into it. When the two attacks collided, the Hatsubi was beaten badly as Naruto absorbed his chakra. Upon doing so, Naruto started to shake violently. He started to shake Konoha, the Fire Nation, as he released wave of power. Everyone, the Kages that is, moved towards where the power was coming from to subdue or stop it immediately. So with that, Naruto was in his mindscape as he spoke to the embodiment of the Shinju, who was no longer, well, she took on the appearance of a young girl. She was gonna die though, as she told Naruto that he had transcended towards godhood. He still not had yet reached the barriers of the god of space and time and will, but he will reach soon. But he had ascended towards godhood, as she told him many things, as Naruto thanked her for her help, as she left everything in his hand. The place of the underworld was screaming out and shaking. Even with the gods, Zeus, Odin, and the other gods felt the enormous power from the human plane, as many of them were worshipping Naruto up there, calling the rise of the Shinju, the rise of the god tree. The other gods didn't seem to like this though, as Naruto's power fluctuated and he became what he was meant to become. Upon arriving, Hiruzen bowed, shocking the others. The Raikage tried to challenge Naruto, but Naruto turned him into dust. The other Kages were forced to go on their knees, not willing to sacrifice their people or their life as well. This was above their pay grade even though they were the Kages. Naruto then turned his sights towards Minato and Kushina. For their betrayal, he erased them. Jiraiya slammed the Rasengan on Naruto's head for what he did, but it barely even fazed him. It was like nothing. As Naruto was about to kill him after knocking him rather badly, Hiruzen pleaded for his life as Naruto left him alive. Some time later, Naruto made his way to the office. He assigned rules to all of the former Jinchurikis and assigned rules to everyone there as he sat in the Hokage's chair. He then spoke to Kenshin. There was a blade that Naruto was looking for. It turns out the blade was at Uza. Kenshin also told him how him and other Uzumaki survived, and also to keep the Uzumaki clan going. He wished for Naruto to marry the daughters of Kushina, as Naruto was definitely not, well, a human anymore, if you would call it that, and it didn't make sense that they were related anymore. In order to preserve his clan, and keep his clan at a state of well-knowing, he pleaded for Naruto to do this, as Naruto agreed to his term, but there was still a lot more to do. So yeah guys, it's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the playset of yourself, and yeah, Woody will be jumping to the final episode. I hope you enjoy guys. We begin this episode in the council room of Konoha, as the members of the council was in there. The clan heads, the Hokage advisors, Hiruzen was in there as well, and the prestige members of the civilian council. There was currently an uproar going on about the current developments, until the door opened up, as a feeling of dread just swallowed the entire room. Every member quickly shut their mouth. It was getting hard to breathe. Naruto stepped in and sat right in Hokage's chair. "If I hear any more bickering, I will zip your mouth myself." "Is that understood?" he said. His voice said ominously, as they nodded rather quickly. "Good," he said. "Now give me the report." The one that spoke was Shikaku. "Our walls need repairing. We lost the stadium. Every building in a 10-block radius around the stadium was destroyed. Many other buildings need repairing. And we need to dispose of the remains of the meteor and the Hokage's monument. Also, our defenses are lacking at the moment. During the invasion we had over 5,000 shinobis, Chunin rank and above. Now, we got 3,000. Troublesome," he said. Naruto nodded. "Bring me a map of the village." The envoy came and placed in front of him. 3,000 ninjas, what ranks, he said. As Shikaku spoke the reports, 500 envoy members, 700 Chunin and 1,800 Jonins. As Naruto nodded, "How many envoys of stationary spots did we lose?" 50. "Alright," said Naruto, 50 of the envoys were replaced, the dead ones. "We shall now double the numbers of the stationary spots. Have them expand. They'll leave 400 envoys. I want them to patrol the village. Now I want 200 Chunin and 500 Jonin to surround a line 20 meters outside the village. Build outposts for them, each outpost a kilometer from the next. After 5, I want you to build a tower. Each outpost will be manned by 1 Jonin. The towers will be worked by 2 Chunin. The numbers of towers will equal up to 100 in total. Now, 10 to 15 kilometers outside the village, in all 4 directions, lie an abandoned fort. We will split the remaining envoy in 50. Each of them will take a fort, repair it, and have it fully prepared. In the north, Fort Aki. In the south, Fort Okami. In the east, Fort Tetsu. And in the west, Fort Miseo. I assume that the envoys will be the backup, said Shikaku, as he already saw the layout. Indeed, if trouble arises, the envoy will provide backup, said Naruto. Now, I want 1,000 Jonin start going on missions, getting the village money. The rest are to stay in the village until the defenses are complete, he said, getting nods. But Koharu was confused. What is all of this? Who gave you the order to order all of us around? Oh yeah, you're still here, said Naruto. I took the right myself. Oh, and as of right now the civilian council is disbanded. The place went up in an uproar once again, as Homura and Koharu started to scream, but Naruto waved his hand. Their heads fell off their shoulders. Envoy, take the rest of the civilian council to Ibiki. See if they had a hand in my torture. If they did, hang them, said Naruto. As they screamed, but they were taken away, as they couldn't really do anything about it. He then turned his gaze towards Danzo. As for you, remove those bandages, he said. Danzo seemed surprised. He made a gesture with his hand. 2 root members rushed towards Naruto from the side, appearing in the room rather quickly. As Naruto got up and walked, the both of them were bisected. He appeared in front of Danzo. Danzo pulled a sword out of his cane and coated it in wind chakra as he drove it forward. It broke on Naruto's chest. Naruto reached and gripped him by the throat and raised him up in the air. Amaterasu. Black flames consumed Danzo as Naruto still held on to him, completely unaffected. Before his body could be burned to a crisp, Naruto ripped his soul out and dropped the body as it burned into nothingness, the black flames disappearing. "You may all go," said Naruto. He then turned his head. "Bring him in," he said to the envoy. The door opened as Jiraiya, missing an arm, having chakra seals over his body, came inside with Guy and Kakashi escorting him. They placed him in front of a table. "Alright, why did you want me to spare his life, Hiruzen?" Naruto asks. "He's a spy master of Konoha," Naruto Dano, Hiruzen said. "He may be able to provide information that will interest you." "Like?" said Naruto. Hiruzen turned toward Jiraiya. "Did you know he was supposed to take care of you, along with Tsunade, as your godfather?" As Naruto's eyes narrowed at that. "What?" Naruto focused on Jiraiya. "Explain yourself, and do not try to lie. If you do, I will know." Jiraiya gulped. "Before your birth, Minato and Kushina made me and Tsunade your godparents, and told us to protect you in case anything ever happened to you. I took care of you for a few weeks, and then went to join Minato." Hiruzen was surprised. "You knew?" he said. Jiraiya nodded as he looked down. "I did. I helped him take care of Narumi and Naruto. I taught Narumi how to use earth and fire jutsus, and Naruto, Nimpo, and Hidden Jutsu." As Naruto's eyes focused on the man, "And what about me?" he said. "Was Naruto to master the Kyuubi chakra so important that he couldn't come back here and take care of me?" he asked. "That you couldn't raise me? You, Tsunade and my parents?" Jiraiya gulped. "It wasn't just for the Kyuubi's chakra." "Explain yourself," said Naruto. Jiraiya nodded as he took a breath. "The Elder Toad gave me a prophecy. He said one day I will have a student that will become the most powerful shinobi of their generation. That child will later have a child, who would later become two, that would fuse red and ripples, and that child would either save or destroy the ninja world. That is what I was told. I can see that you're not lying, but who else can confirm this?" said Naruto. "The Toads and Minato," said Jiraiya. "Hiruzen," said Naruto. "Hold my shoulder," said Naruto. Hiruzen placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder as Naruto held on to Jiraiya, and the three of them were gone in a flash. At Mount Miyaboku, the three of them appeared. Shima and Fukazaku were shocked. "Jiraiya boy, what happened to you?" Jiraiya looked at them. "Trouble," he said, as they saw it drop. As Naruto glanced up, "You must be the Great Toad Sage, are you not?" The Toad was sleeping. Fukazaku asked, "Who are you?" "You will find out soon enough. For now, wait," the Toad said Naruto. Shima begrudgingly did so, as Naruto pulled out 2 vials of blood. As he smeared them on the ground, "Summoning Edo Tensei," he said. The vials shifted, taking human form. To everyone's surprise, Minato and Kushina appeared, forming from said blood. They looked exactly the same except the white of their eyes were now black. Minato and Kushina were confused. One moment they were preparing to be judged. Now they were on, from the looks of it, Mount Miyaboku. Naruto looking at them. They turned to find Hiruzen, a single-armed Jiraiya, and the Great Toad looking down at them as well. Kushina turned towards Naruto, her eyes filled with emotions. "Naruto-kun," she said. Naruto glanced towards her. "You only speak when needed," he said. "For now, you are here to listen." She looked sad, but she nodded. As Naruto turned towards Minato, "Tell me of the prophecy," he said. As Minato told him what Jiraiya said back. At the office, Naruto then turned towards Gammaru. "Is that the prophecy that you gave?" As Gammaru nodded. "Alright then, so tell me, Minato, what made you and my godfather think that Naruto and Narumi were the great prophecy that he speak about?" "Well, Naruto and Narumi got an age different. One has a Kyuubi with the red eyes, the other one awakened the Rinnegan with the ripple eyes. Everything you said aligned with them." "I see," said Naruto as he turned towards Gammaru. "And you, Great Toad Sage, teacher of the Sage of Six Path." Gammaru opened his eyes even more as he looked towards Naruto. The others were shocked. "What do you say? Do you agree with your clan summoner?" The Great Toad looked at him. "As I look at you, I can see your eyes yet. I cannot see your future. I cannot see your prophecy." Fukazaku turned towards him surprised. "But how can this be?" As Naruto started to laugh, They turned back towards him. Oh, this is rich, he said. If you can't see, well then, let me show you. Naruto opened back his eyes, his Renny Sharingan glowing, as a pressure fell on the entire place. A black aura with a red outline surrounded Naruto, with ears like a wolf. 10 white ethereal tails appeared behind him as he turned his head to the sky and roared, forcing everyone to cover their face and hold their ground. He started to levitate off the ground as all the elements surrounded him. This is what the prophecy meant. Holding incredible power, it wasn't about two girls with two different eyes. It was about a being with two different souls. As Jiraiya looked up in pain, shielding his eyes. What do you mean? As Naruto pointed towards Kushina and Minato. What I am now is a fusion of the child that you abandoned at Konoha. A child who had a pure soul like water that was a rock and destroyed because of the people that you risked your life to protect. The traumatized soul that rippled like water. And the fusion of the Shinju, a primordial god that was forced to become a mindless beast, destroying thousands. A red soul, stained by blood. Those two, despite the 1,000 years of difference, became one because of the Shinju's will. What I am is a new Jubei, the new god of chaos. And through your actions, father, mother, godfather, you have brought forward the harbinger of death and destruction, a god who commands the 5 nations with an iron fist. He turned to Jiraiya. Your dreams will soon be accomplished. Peace will be brought, but wars will be fought first. And it won't be peace for the people. The peace will be mine, because I will make the world mine, he said. Jiraiya looked at him in shock, but then something rather shocking happened. Gamamaru lowered his head. Long live Naruto, the god of chaos, he said. As Shima and Fukazaku bowed their head as well. Long live the god of chaos. Naruto turned to Jiraiya. If you want to live, you will track Tsunade down and bring her to me. Naruto turned towards Hiruzen, touched his shoulder, and make sure he does as I say. Hiruzen touched Jiraiya as Naruto transported them back to Konoha. As for you, said Naruto, as he turned towards Minato, killing you was too merciful. You aren't worthy of death. You're not even worthy of life. As Naruto shot a white beam in his chest, confusing Minato. As chains exploded out of Minato's chest and wrapped around him. You aren't worthy of a wife. You aren't worthy of daughters. You aren't worthy of students. You aren't worthy of followers, said Naruto as he stepped forward. The chains started to corrode. A black vortex appeared behind Minato, sucking him in. You will go to a dimension where one day in the real world is 1 year there. Your chains will fully disappear in a millennia in that world. Until that happens, you will experience all the pain I felt for a millennia. Once the chains are broken, you will transform into a beast that will answer only to me. That is your punishment. He snapped his fingers as he was sucked away. As Naruto turned towards Kushina, she fell to her knees. Honestly, I don't know what to do with you. You abandoned me, your own son, ignoring the Uzumaki teaching and following that man, blindly trusting every word of Minato. As she started to cry, stand up, said Naruto. As she got to her feet, but she could not face him, as she prepared to be punished as well. Do you want to live, he said, to redeem yourself? She looked up in shock, as she nodded her head quickly. His eyes then glowed. Outer path, Samsara, of the heavenly life. A green spirit fly from the king of hell's mouth, and went into Kushina. Her eyes and skin returned back to normal, as Naruto gripped her by the throat. From this day forward, you will be my slave, my concubine, my mate, my wife, he said. Your very reason to draw breath is to bring me happiness. Do you understand me, he said. She looked at him with shock. If that is what it takes, I'll do it, she said. Everyone watched as he pulled her close and kissed her. Until he pulled back, her face was flushed. He then bit her right in the neck. As Kushina felt her body trembling, power entering her. A mark appeared on her neck when he bit her, a wolf with 10 tails. She then collapsed in his arms as he placed her over his shoulder. He then turned his head to the toads. Once Narumi and Naruto become 14, I expect you to teach them Sage Jutsu. Is that understood, he said. As they nodded. Good, he said. With that he was gone in a flash. Konoha Hospital. It was the second day after the exams. In 2 beds in the same room, Naruto and Narumi, as they awoke to see a man in their room. It was him. Why are you here? I wanted to see you too. After what happened to you, I thought we were no longer even family, not even blood related. And besides, you never actually cared for us. So why are you here? Is it to gloat about your victory over me? As Naruto laughed, oh that my dear, would be like a samurai gloating over being able to swing a katana. There wasn't any way that I would lose to you. As that angered her, then why are you here? I've come to inform you that once you become 18, we shall marry, he said. Their eyes widened in shock. It was Naruto who spoke. You really expect us to marry the man who put us in the hospital? The man who murdered our parents? You choose to fight me, you suffer the consequences for it. And your parents are alive. It was at that moment the door opened as Kushina stepped inside. Both of them leaped out of their bed as they rushed towards their mother and hugged her with tearful eyes. Wait, what about Dad? Where is he? He's alive, said Naruto, but he's paying for his crimes. As his tone left no room for argument, he got to his feet. I will leave you 3 to each other, he said. Time skip, Forest of Death. Inside the Forest of Death, there was a large cave. Inside, there was a large underground tunnel. It was deep, like immensely deep. Thousands of layers below the earth. In the middle of that large space stood Naruto. He nodded to himself at the spacious room. He then flared his aura as 9 poof appeared. All the 9 Bijus appeared. As he looked at each and every one of them, Shikaku, Manitobe, Aisabu, Son Goku, Kokiri, Saigon, Komi, Jaiki, Kurama, he said, addressing them by their names. They bowed their head. Jubi-sama, they all said. That is merely a title. If you want to call me something, call me Naruto or Shinjo. As they nodded, Kurama was the first to speak. What do you require of us, Naruto-sama? I want you to build a demon portal. Their eyes widened. As Kokyo decided to speak, Naruto-sama, you must understand, to make a demon portal, it will take us 5 or 6 months at least. Or a year at most. Naruto raised the eyebrow. Explained, he said. To make a demon portal, each Biju must first go to a different location, 100 miles away from each other, in a specific manner. There must never be more than 1 Biju in the same place. Each Biju must send their yokai to an artifact that will form into a gem. We must take 1 gem from every location. This step is the hardest and most time consuming. It will take at least 3 months. It requires perfect teamwork and cooperation from each Biju. Monotabi finished off. Aisabu shifted where he was. Once each Bijus gather the gems, they must bring them to a spot with high energy outputs, a volcano, a vortex, even the eye of storm, though the last is unreasonable. Then they must all unite their chakra to form a metal. That metal will be used as a halo where the gate will be formed. After that, at least 2 Bijus must combine at least 10 worth of tails. For example, Monotabi and Jaiki equal to 10. And add all the gems to the right place. Do all Biju need to be there, said Naruto, or only the ones that work? But if there's a need to switch, the Biju must be inside the gate prior, so the energy fluctuation can stay stabilized. Alright, said Naruto, here's what will happen. Take all the time you want and start to get the gems. Once you finish, Kurama will be the Biju, to be in the last step for the time. Shikaku will teach me about what demon powers that he knows. Then Monotabi, and so on. Once the time for Kurama comes, Monotabi and Jaiki will take his place. As he looked towards all the Bijus who nodded, I want you to teach me everything you know. First, all your powers. Then you will all split the necessary knowledge I need for Demon World, down to 9 parts. Once you do, you will also get to decide which Biju get to teach what. I want you all to have full cooperation, and just so you know, you will accompany me to hell. Now dismiss. They nod their head as they poofed away. Time skip at the castle. As Naruto came inside his bedroom, where Kushina was. As she was kneeling, she was wearing a maid outfit but it was red. His eyes looked at her. As she felt it, pure, uncontained lust, with a growing feeling of love. That was what she wanted. Get up, he said, which she happily did. as Naruto allows his instincts to take over. Time skip. Village gates. 1 week has passed since the whole event. In Hiruzen's office. Behind Naruto stood Kenshin, Kushina, Shishio, Sato. In front of him was Hiruzen and Zabuza. Take care of the village, he said to Hiruzen, who nodded. He then looked towards Zabuza. Take care of Narume and Naruko, he said. And the castle. Zabuza nodded. He turned to the others behind him. Touched my shoulder. As they all did. With that they were gone in a vortex. Time skip at Uzu. As all of them stood on the shore. As he looked at the ruins, is this it, he asked. As Kenshin nodded. The black aura flooded Naruto. He pushed his arm forward. The sea started to bubble and shook. Until the water parted. And a massive bridge formed out of it. The bridge had the remains of what appeared to be columns. Kenshin walked forward. This is it, he said. Let us go, said Naruto. As they followed behind him, they passed a destroyed gate, looking around in wonder. Despite the destroyed buildings, everything looked beautiful, and Naruto couldn't understand why. Perhaps it's because this truly felt like home. As the buildings were decorated in the color of the whirlpool symbol, as he calmly made his way, vines and flowers had expanded, covering parts of the ruins. They kept on walking until they reached a large circle, big enough to build a fort on it. Kenshin approached as he placed his hand down and applied chakra. He moved back as the circle opened as a massive tower rose out of it. It was old. It looked like it was built a millennia ago. It had a giant whirlpool symbol in the center. It was made out of black fine marble. As they entered, it was covered in a shine of dust. Kenshin pointed toward the stairs that went down. There's the library, and then the armory. As they were going down the stairs, Shishi spoke. This brings back memories, he said. As Kenshin nodded, they opened the door, as there was rows upon rows of scrolls inside. Kenshin turned toward Shishio and Sato. Start sealing away the scrolls, he said. Naruto-sama, Kushina, you can go to the right section. It is the one with Kinjutsu and Funjutsu. As Naruto opened one of the scrolls, Kushina glanced over his shoulder and read, Mitsurai style, created by Shisho Uzumaki, the style of the royal Uzumaki branch, developed so that one person can take on numerous foes at once. Require a combination of extreme speed, agility, perception, and Battle Jutsu. Kushina was a bit confused. It sounds powerful, but what is Battle Jutsu, she said. I assume ninjas don't use it, said Naruto. It is more for samurai technique. It is the art of rapidly drawing and sheathing your blade. Swords swing, while unsheathed, move up to 3 times faster than a normal stance. It is used to kill the opponent in one swing. As Kushina nodded, as he took out another scroll. Adamantine, sealing chains. He picked up another scroll. 4 red yang formation. Requires 4 Kage 11 ninja. The barrier is strong enough to hold off attacks from the most powerful Biju. He kept on reading different Kinjutsu. As they waited for the others to finish, as Kenshin finally came over. It's done, he said. They descended deeper down some more stairs. As they arrived towards the armory, there were armor, weapons, all sorts of weapons inside. As Naruto stepped forward towards a pedestal, there were 2 dragon statues, as they had the swords between their mouth. It was a katana held in a black sheet, with blue swirls around it. The hilt was surrounded by a royal blue cloth. As Naruto grabbed it, he felt a tug on his endless energy reserves. As he unsheathed the blade, it was made of a blue metal similar to diamonds. It looked like water, with ripples running along the blade. It had an inscription on it. I am Arashi, Sword of Storms. Naruto pushed his energy inside the blade. The blade started to hum ominously, with pure power. As a grin came to his face as he sheathed by the blade. Now, only the holy and demonic gods can challenge me, he said, as his eyes were glowing ominously with power. Time skip. It has been 3 days since his visit to Uzu. As Naruto was sitting in the Hokage's chair, 3 scrolls in front of him, and there was also a map that Hiruzen presented him with. His eyes roamed through everything, forming scenarios, creating possibilities. He finally turned towards Hiruzen. Is this accurate, he said. Hiruzen nodded, indeed. Reports showing that a massive stone army has raised and been attacking various settlements and outposts. We have been holding them off. However, our Anvu base has trouble taking them down. They cannot be defeated by normal weapons. And while their exact number is unknown, we estimate them to be in the numbers of thousands. Naruto growled angrily. Raise the number of men in the outpost to 3, and the tower to 5. Send 100 Jonins to support the outpost of the Anvus, he said. Then I want you to get 500 of our best combat troops, regardless of their rank. Then take them to these spots that Naruto, as he pointed towards the land of swamp, where you will meet up with the other forces from the other villages and crush this army. I shall send equipment out there beforehand. As he summoned the Anvu, get me Haku, Zabuza, and their unit. The Anvu nod and disappear. As Hiruzen looked towards Naruto, what will you do, he asked. You said that this army reminds you of the one that the demon Moryo commanded, based on the books that you read. Hiruzen nodded. Then I will go to the demon country and ask the guardian priestess if this is true. If it is, I will crush the demon. At that moment, Zabuza, Haku, demon brothers, and the Wolf Corps entered. The Wolf Corps was a team that Zabuza had created. Their purpose was to aid Naruto whenever he wanted what in human matters. They wore black bodysuits with red samurai armors. We are going to demon country, he said. You are to guard me. They nodded as Naruto looked towards them. His eyes pulsed as they were taken away in a vortex. Timeskip, the demon country. The demon Moryo was sealed within this land. It was the home of the priestess, who had the ability to seal the demon away if it was ever released. The country was ruled by the priestess who lived inside the temple. The temple was fortified, containing countless soldiers, but at the moment it was plunged in absolute chaos. Soldiers of the demon country ran around, battling hundreds of stone armies, but their weapons were barely doing anything, as they tried to hold off the stone warriors, while the rest of them protect the chamber with the priestess inside. As the captain shouted, "Hold them off," he said. As one of the stone warriors moved forward, he plunged his weapon into the stone warrior's chest, but the thing caught it. He was about to be slashed in half until a blade came down from the stone warrior's head and sliced him into 2. The blade was massive. Standing there was none other than Zabuza, holding on to his blade. As the wolf members spread, Haku arrived and started to freeze many of the stone soldiers, the wolf members shattering them on contact. Soon there wasn't a single one left standing, as Zabuza placed his giant blade behind him. Well, that's that, he said. Meanwhile, inside the chamber of the priestess, a massacre had happened. It was surprising. 4 men that were disguised that came in and killed all 4 men, leaving only one. He was holding a small blade as he stood in front of the priestess, guarding her and protecting her against his 3 men and 1 woman. All of them had on white clothing with hexagram symbols on them. The man smirked. Time for you and the priestess to die. But they were interrupted as someone appeared in front of them, wind picking up around him. As the guardian used that chance to take the priestess as they ran. As Naruto stood there, the 3 men and 1 woman looked towards her intruder that just stopped them from killing the priestess. "You're in our way," the first one said, moving forward until his wrist broke. As Naruto waved his hand, the man's head was removed. "I'm your death," said Naruto, "and I could say the same to you." The girl of the group launched kunais towards him before she threw out a chain to grab him, but Naruto appeared in front of her and thrust his fist forward. A hole was blown directly through her stomach. She looked down in shock before she collapsed. 2 kunais then came down towards Naruto's throat from the man behind him. As the kunais exploded before they made contact, the man stepped back in shock as Naruto appeared behind him and gripped him by the back of the neck before he started to squeeze. The man's face became blue until blood burst from his eyes and his nose as he collapsed dead. The last one tried to flee, but Naruto shot chains towards him and grabbed him before he gripped his head and ripped out his soul, gathering the information necessary. He then dropped the body. Strange black snakes started to appear. As they looked at Naruto, their eyes glowing ominously. They charged towards him as Naruto released a breath, as they were blown away. As Naruto turned his head, time skip. With the castle now safe, the priestess came back with her lone guardian. His name was Taruho. Her name was Shin, priestess of the demon country. She had light blonde hair, pale purple eyes, as she was wearing a golden crown, as she was wearing white clothing. As Taruho introduced Lady Shin, Zabuza then spoke. I am Mamakai Zabuza, captain of the Wolf Corps, he said. As Haku then spoke, I am Yuki Haku, lieutenant of the Wolf Corps. And this is Lord Naruto, daimyo of the Elemental Nation, god of chaos. Shin eyes widened hearing that. Toru gasped. God, he said. As Naruto merely nodded, the man bowed his head. We request the Wolf Corps escort Lady Shin to the Sealing Shrine. As a result of last night, many lives perish, Toru said sadly. As Shin then spoke, and here I am, safe and sound. They must have died with no regret. As Naruto's eyes focused towards her, he then remembered how he helped the Fuma clan, the Uzumaki clan, the Wave, how he brought Konoha back to its feet, how he gave the Jinchurikis positions that made him happy. As an ominous pressure fell on the room, Shin's eyes widened. The next second Naruto stood in front of her, as he gripped her throat and lifted her off the ground. No regrets. No regrets, you see. What about leaving your loved ones? What about leaving your family? He had saw the massacre outside. So many of them had perished. Is that not something to regret? According to your words, he asked. She gasped. I am their priestess. Thanks to my gift of foresight, I can survive and keep the demon at bay. Is that so? Said Naruto. Well then, I'll give you a prediction. By tomorrow night, you will be kneeling before me, he said as he released her. Haku, take the Wolf Corps and inform the combined shinobi forces to come here. As Haku nodded and moved off with the Corps. Zabuza, you will guard Shin along with Toru on our trip towards Moryo Seal. Toru looked towards him. So, you will help, he said. Yes, we shall leave tomorrow afternoon. But that will make us lose time, Toru said. No, it won't, said Naruto. As he walked off. Time skip. They're waiting for Shin to finish preparing, as Toru gave Naruto a bow. I beg of you, please forgive her attitude. She acts like this because of her past. You see, after she became a priestess and started to have premonitions, everyone feared that they would be in one of those. So they avoided her. For that reason, she became isolated. You're wrong, said Naruto. That doesn't justify it. Until I reached the age of 7, I was shunned by everyone in my village. Had assassinations attempt on me, I got beaten, stabbed, poisoned, tortured, and so many more things. I later became an envoy, seen other horrors, and also partaking in some of them. This kept on going until I became a god at the age of 13. Yet, I take care of my subordinates. In return of their loyalty, they got my love, and they are under my protection. A bad past doesn't give her the right to act like that. As Toru lowered his head, they heard footsteps as Naruto turned to see Shin. She was wearing a white top, a mustard colored yellow shirt that seemed many sizes too big for her, red pants that cut off at the knee, and sandals. Let's go, she said. Naruto raised his hand as all of them were sucked into a vortex. Time skip. Land of Swamp. The group appeared on a large mountain. Located in Land of Swamps, the sun was slowly falling. Unknown to them, Naruto had decreased the speed of teleportation to give time to the shinobi army to destroy the stone army. To them, they had moved pretty fast, but he had decreased the time without them knowing. Shin then focused her gaze. I will enter alone, she said. The remaining stone army started to approach. As Naruto turned towards Zabuza, who grabbed Toru despite his protests and rushed off. As Naruto stood there in front of the entrance, as Shin made her way inside the shrine. As the place was immensely hot, as Shin started to sweat, she went in the middle of a circular rock. But before she could start the seal, she heard a voice. Oh my, look how much you have grown. She looked to see a man sitting in a stone chair. He had long black hair and eyes resembling the color of tanned skin. He was wearing a black trench coat over a grey attire, with martial arts shoes. You look just like your mother, he said, with a wicked smile. As 3 stone soldiers appear, let us offer our greetings towards the princess. The stone soldiers start to approach her. My name is Yama, he said. Long ago, your mother stopped my plans. Do you remember that day? It was the day that we chose Moryo as our lord, and the 1,000-year kingdom was within our grasp. If it wasn't for your mother, there wouldn't be a priestess. Stay away, Shin yelled as they tried to approach. Suddenly a beam came from her bell as it destroyed all the soldiers. As she looked down with shock, Yomo looked towards her amused. Why are you so shocked? Are you not aware of your own power? He said. Huh, what a surprise. What do you know? He said. Every day. Until this day What? He said, cutting her off. You focus on honing your sealing jutsu. Well then, why don't you come and seal me? If you can. She went behind him toward the seal pentagram. He turned towards her the seal. Unite the two people into one. Your mother, Moroku, accepted that. Yes, that is right. Your mother, a seal inside of me, he said. To her surprise, he started to chuckle. Yes, we were once one, but we got separated into two souls. Two bodies. We were one, but we came to be Moryo and the priestess. Good, evil, right, wrong, light, dark. Those words cannot tie us. Shin did 3 hand signs as she started to levitate off the ground. As she went through 9 more. As she then went through 6 more. It was at that moment Yuma, the real one, rushed in. She looked towards him in shock. You were too hasty, priestess. You should have waited until that body decayed. As the ground started to shake. He did that to get in here, she thought. She tried to leave, but she was blown back. Once the barrier is up, no one can leave. Until one swallowed the other. And that is decided by their chakra. Now, you will return my body, he yelled. You have my gratitude, priestess. The other one was too weak to enter the seal. Shin dropped to her knees. What have I done, she thought. She closed her eyes all those years. They were for nothing. Naruto protecting my life was for nothing, she thought. She was about to be enveloped in darkness. Only for her to feel herself pulled away. She slowly opened her eyes as she saw hundreds of shinobis from all the 5 nations. Leading them was a man wearing red samurai armor with a straw hat and a mask. She turned as she realized she was in Naruto's arms. As he settled her down, the man with the armor spoke, Naruto-sama. Good work, Han, said Naruto. As Shin realized that she was outside. As she looked towards Naruto in shock. As Naruto handed her over to Han. As the mountain erupted, lava came raining down. As Naruto leaped up in the air. Naruto, she cried out. Seeing him going right into the lava, but he raised his hand. As a transparent beam came out. Protecting every single one of them as the lava was deflected. It was then that a massive serpent creature broke out of the mountain. You are rather stupid to challenge me, mortal, said Moryo. And you must be pretty pathetic. Lying to Shin like that, said Naruto. Moryo's eyes narrowed. Yes, I heard everything. And I know it's a lie, said Naruto. His Rinne Sharingan was glowing with power. The tomos were spinning ominously. The truth is you were a knight in the territory of a demon titan, Diablo. You were commanding the armies of the demon king, Diablo's son. Yet you tried to take over his kingdom, challenge him in battle, for his power and his wife. You lost horribly and shamefully, I must say, and you were banished. Then you came to the human world and tried to start an empire here. You came to this land priestess and you demanded her for her army to help you with your cause. But instead you got sealed away. Moryo roared in anger. How do you know of that? I got my ways, said Naruto. And by the way, Naruto's black ethereal tales came from him. The heavens itself seemed to shake. I am no mortal. I am Naruto, the god of chaos. Remember this, for it will be the last thing you ever see. Moryo roared as he released a beam of purple chakra. As Naruto appeared above the head and slammed his foot into it, the beam hit the ground as the head exploded. 2 more heads started fire towards Naruto. Naruto dodged it as he leaped towards the second head. His fist tear right through it. The other head tried to bite him, but Naruto stretched and grabbed its jaws. He forcefully kept it open. Amaterasu, he said, as he burned the thing from the inside. The last giant head, now remaining, shouted in anger, Die! Bright balls of angels surrounded him as he blasted them directly towards Naruto. Naruto slapped all of them away with his bare hand, before he released a massive colossal shockwave that blew Moryo back. Moryo screamed as Naruto released another. The darkness was being beaten out of him by just the force alone. Naruto then slammed both hands together as he formed a glowing black orb. Moryo pulled back as he charged his final flaming beam. As he launched it, Naruto's eyes pulsed as a beam was eviscerated right in front of his face. Naruto then released the orb in his hand. Moryo started to roar as he could not control his movements as he was being pulled upwards. "What is happening?" he screamed. "Planetary devastation," Naruto suddenly said. The ground under Moryo lifted up, only the ground under him. It slammed into his body viciously before it pulled him towards the sky. "No!" Moryo screamed. "I won't!" His face was slammed in as he was covered by stone. Naruto then teleported away as he appeared hundreds of feet above said circular dome. He then raised his hand to the heavens. Black lightning swallowed his fist completely. "Energy spear," he said. The night became day. For a few seconds as Naruto plunged the energy down, the entire thing exploded, Moryo being eviscerated from the earth itself. Shin looked up in shock, her hair blowing back. As she looked up in shock and awe. Time skip. The Shinobi camp. The Shinobis were celebrating at the defeat of the army and Moryo. As Naruto sat at the head of a table, Shin was next to him. Large fires with meat cooking. People were drinking sake and wine. As Naruto felt something tug his sleeve. As he turned to see Shin looking at him, she was blushing. "I want to thank you for defeating Moryo and the Stone Army." Naruto shrugged. It was an amusing challenge, he said. And a smile. "Suits you a lot better than tears," he said to her. "Now that demon is dead," she said, "there's no need for a priestess." "Yes, that's right," he said. "But there is need for a queen." She looked up in shock. "But I don't have royal blood," she said. "You don't need royal blood," he told her. "You need to marry a king." She blushed at that. Before she smiled in a rather seductive way. "Are you perhaps a king, Naruto-sama?" she asked. "I will consider myself more for God King, if that answers your questions," he told her. She placed a hand on his chest. "How about we discuss more about this marriage," she said. Naruto's response was to grab her waist and teleport her and himself away as well. Later that night, Shin woke up in the bed beside Naruto as she just had a vision. Her waking up caused him to wake. "Are you okay?" he said. "I had a vision." "About?" he asked. "I can't reveal much," she said, "because I don't understand myself. All I know is that your village and the Jinjulkis that come to give some report are in danger by the red clouds and the elements." "The red clouds and the elements," he said. But he merely smiled. "You don't have to worry about anything," he said. As he took her back in his arms. "I won't leave you until the morning," he said. She leaned into his chest as she relaxed. Well, Naruto thought to himself, "Well, it's time I go on a hunt for the Akatsuki members," he thought to himself. The moment she said red clouds, he knew exactly who she was talking about. It was time for him to destroy that group once and for all. It's been a long time coming. But guys, to be in subscribe right here. If you want some next person to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on the bell notifications, stay posted, but I'm for now, see you guys soon. Peace.